Hey, good morning. Odd morning shave for me. Um, just took a shower, and that's actually why I have the bathroom fan going, because I wanted to remember to tell you that, because that is not typical for me. I usually shower after my shave, and the schedule today is a little different. So we have this awesome knot from Frank Shaving, and it's a Silvertip, and it's in the DS Cosmetics type purple handle. Pretty cool. I find it very ergonomic, and it's inexpensive as well. And so if you're putting together your own knot, whether it's a synthetic, animal hair, whatever, it's a nice shape. I find it very ergonomic. Seems to be good quality. I mean, it's resin. There are no seam lines going down through it, so the feel is good, and it fits a 24 millimeter knot very well. I do have, as you can probably see, an O-ring right there to rein in the fibers a little bit, because they were really all spread out and a little bit too dispersed for me. So today we have the Mamba. This is the original Mamba, and you can always tell, and I just discovered as I was assembling this one that it looks like maybe the bolt is off kilter, or maybe the handle is, but it's fine, because it's either going to tilt left, right, forward, or backwards, and it kind of doesn't matter, because I'm tilting stuff my own way anyway. If it tilts to the side, that almost makes it kind of a slant, but it's very minor, so no big deal. You want to know which kind of model it is? RazoRock does a good job of putting it on the bottom of the base plate. I just actually got a Mamba 70, which is the Mamba here has existed for a while by itself, but they made a higher gap version, and then it's going to have a 70 right beside the word Mamba there. Now, I also wanted to show you, this is the titanium handle. Pretty cool. Is it called Halo? I can't remember. The Mamba loads a little differently. I wanted to show you that. The blade we're going to use today is a Treet Platinum. It's done very well for me in the shaves that I've done with it, but I've used more aggressive razors, and so I'm really interested to see how it does with this, a fairly mild razor. The blade looks like this. And so this base plate is what has the posts that hold the blade. This is kind of like a Wolfman Gorilla, and I think the Game Changer from RazoRock does this. So it is a little trickier, because you might knock the blade loose as you put the cap on, or knock it out of alignment. And so I just press it down gently, and I'll hold it like that while I tighten it up most of the way. And then once it's tight enough to hold the two plates together, I just look at it to make sure everything's right. That way the blade hasn't shifted inside it, and everything's good. It always is, but I always check it. And so there we go. This is a very smooth razor. It actually does have a little bit of exposure there, but maybe because the angles, or maybe because the base plate maybe sticks out this way more than some other razors. Some people find it too mild, but I do find it comfortable, but I also find it pretty efficient. I don't have any problem with it at all in terms of getting at the end of my shave and still having some hairs left. All right, so today is day 2 of the Lather games, and it is a day that is honoring the awesome app website called Try That Soap, or Try This Soap. Darn it, I can't remember. But if you look in the description, if you look in the title of the video, it'll tell you for sure. No, not the title of the video. I don't think I'll have enough room to stick it there. But in the description, it'll say, I think it's Try That Soap, trythatsoap.com. And one nice thing, one of the great features of it, is that when a soap gets discontinued, if it had a good run, then it's probably in that database. Now, I don't know how far it goes back, so it may not get a lot of the vintage stuff, but if a soap has been discontinued, then you'll actually still see a record of it on that site. And so it'll show you the scent notes, and then usually he's able to paste any of the copy describing the scent from the maker. And that's very nice, because if something's out of stock, not out of stock, but has been discontinued, you may not find it on the maker's page anymore, on the maker's website. And so you may be relying on other sources like this awesome web page that does it. And so I use it for a lot of research. You can also, if you like a particular soap, you can go to that soap's page on the site, and it will suggest for you other soaps that have similar scent notes. One weakness of it, and pretty much everything else, is that it doesn't tell you the dominant notes unless you can find it in the copy below. And so just because it may say petitgrain or neroli in the bulleted scent list, the profile there, that it may be imperceptible. It may be a helper element, or it could be a huge dominant note. And so you don't really know for sure. And so sometimes those recommendations can't be as accurate as they could be if the data was there to have this is a dominant part of this scent, but that's just the nature of the beast, because it would be hard to get that information. But anyway, it might suggest to you some that you might like that are similar, especially if you're having trouble finding one that you like, or you have narrow tastes. So another feature that it does is it can suggest for you some pairings in your library. You can create a den, if you will, and my stuff, and go through, and there's a bulk area where you could go in per brand and just have it, and then all of a sudden now you've got your collection there. You can keep track of it that way if you don't want to use a spreadsheet at home or something like that. Now, most people don't have anything worth trying to collect any kind of quantity, and so they just got a few soaps, and you don't need anything like that. You can also use, if you have a larger collection, you can, and you're kind of bored with what do I select, it has a set of the day recommendation for you, and I think it's probably random, but it was definitely random in today's pairing, because it paired my Executive Man post shave with Midnight Dreary Catie's Bubbles. And they probably don't go together too well. It's not an obvious combination. We'll see how they work together. Midnight Dreary, I was glad that I got this one, because this is maybe my favorite scent from Catie's Bubbles. It's not really like anything else. It's probably the orchid part of the scent. You don't see that in a lot. It's almost like a dark floral, slightly sweet-ish, but you wouldn't say that, but it's not that high funeral home, grandma's purse kind of floral. It says under the subtext there, a dark and mysterious blend. So it's not too helpful in a sense in telling you what's in there. Yep. And this is one of the first purchases I made, probably maybe one of the first dozen soaps that I bought a few years ago. And so it actually brings back memories of those days of learning how to shave with these double-edged razors and that sort of thing. Great performer, Catie's Bubbles, tremendous performer. It is vegan, but I do like tallow, usually better. But if a vegan maker can make a great vegan soap, then I am fine with that too. All right, so I've had my brush soaking, the Frank Shaving Silvertip. I just took a shower, but my face is fairly dry. I'm sure my hairs haven't fully dried out yet. You do my usual a little bit of water before the shave. A little bit more than a day's growth today. All right, let's do a usual 30-second load. And 15 is about, oh, you know what? Let me get my brush. I shook it out to make a photo, for the front page of the YouTube video. And so then I'm going to add my water back in so that I can shake, get my right level where I kind of usually like to start out. All right, 30 just started, so 31 is actually when I started swirling here. So we'll go to 01 on the next hour, next minute. Nice deep, Catie's Bubbles has nice deep tubs, so it doesn't overflow too much when you're loading. Mainly, I'm not concerned too much with overflow. What I'm concerned with is some of the smaller ones, you just don't get a good rotation. And then also you want to keep those bristles in there so that they're picking up. So that's 30 seconds. And this brush, I was planning to shave a little earlier, and it had a chance to soak for, I don't know, half an hour, something like that. Definitely doesn't need to, because it is a Silvertip Badger. I think it's a pretty good Silvertip for the money. I don't think it's as good as the Golden Nib premium grade, but it's pretty good. It started off a little scritchy, I think, but I worked through it. All right. Roger Quintero shave bowl. He designed it on the computer, 3D printing, that sort of thing. I don't have a printer, but I was able to get one, and I worked with him a little bit on the design. And that design is actually uploaded to one of the common websites for 3D printing files to be uploaded to, and so you can get a hold of that if you want, if you have an access to a 3D printer, and print your own. So, oh, I love that scent. So we're working up a little early lather. Today's water is brought to you by the letter W. It's hard water, my usual tap water. I have lately been on a bore kick, and I'm gonna have to suspend that to some degree because of the lather games, because I'm gonna try to use a different brush every day to increase the variety and diversity of my contributions to the games. And so I'm only going to be able to use my bores once, but I've been cycling through them now for a while. I've got about I got 7 that I'm working through. It's fun to watch them grow and change. This is slowly building up into the lather. I added 1 teaspoon. Let's add a whole nother teaspoon. And so this is a brush that I really hit hard a while back, last year maybe. I haven't really been back to it as often because I've got some new knots. That Stirling Finest, the Manchurian I got from Elite, the couple of the Declaration brushes that I just have had a lot of fun playing around with those. But this is a good one, and it's inexpensive. eBay is the place to get this particular knot, and then you can silicone it into this handle. AliExpress is the best place to get this handle. It may take a while to get to you. You can get it at Shave Forge as well, but it'll cost you maybe twice as much, but it might get to you quicker, since I think they're American. They're in the US. AliExpress would probably ship from China or something like that. But I think it's just like $8 or something for this handle. Lather's looking good. Not tons of it, and that's okay. We have 2 teaspoons of water in it. Let us put another half, and then I will look at the viscosity with the finger check. So this Badger is a Silvertip, and so it's soft, cloud-like. The new trend, I mean the trend last year seems to be toward the Badgers, maybe like the Finest Badger. It is a 2-band Badger. Those have more backbone, soft tips, but more backbone. And then a lot of the makers, like Declaration Grooming, and some of the others, like that Manchurian knot from Elite, they're really packing a lot of hairs in there. This is not nearly as dense, so it has more flow through. It's quicker to clean, quicker to rinse out. It's easier to splay, and so if you like a soft splay like I do, then this might be a better brush that fits you a little better. Oh yeah, there we go. Quantity looks about right. Look at those rolling hills, just gently rolling. And let's watch it drop. Ah, nice. Kind of extended. The length of the glob was kind of long. It's not giving me super long peaks. Now, some soaps do, some soaps don't. Let's just give a little rub. Nah, it's time to stop. This is probably time to stop. Because it's not tallow, it's not going to give you that buttery slickness. And so you don't need to try to look for that where it's not there. It's kind of a watery slickness. So let's just see what happens when we put it on my face. A little water. Man, my beard it feels like a 2-day beard, but it's not. All right. Now this one has more backbone than the golden nib. I may have watered down this soap a little too much. But I like this amount of backbone. Oh yeah, the lather's kind of dissipating a little bit. I may have taken it a little too far. Maybe this is kind of like Sella and some others where you don't want it to look quite as wet, quite as elastic. Now it's going to perform, I'll tell you that. And depending on how it feels, I may rescue it. Yeah, because this is a little too, well, especially with blobs jumping ship like that. This is a little too wet. Now this, if you're a straight razor shaver, those guys like a lot of slickness and a thin lather. And so this may be just exactly right for those. As a matter of fact, yeah, you know what? Let us go back to the puck, and this is how you can rescue a too thin lather. We'll just go back to the puck, maybe 10 seconds. We'll just do 8 seconds. Okay, and then I will you do need to add just a little bit of water because you added quite a bit of soap to the brush with that. So I'll just so maybe this soap just needs something that looks a little drier, looks a little too thick. And I've got hard water, so as you can see, it doesn't have a problem with that. Yeah, this is definitely a thicker lather. There we go. So either change the 30-second load or just load a little bit less water or apply a little bit less water. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. So I added 3 teaspoons of water so I could back off on that. Next time with a 30-second load, try to remember to make that note. All right, halo handle, I think, and titanium handle. And the head is stainless steel, in case you didn't know that. So it is a razor that can last a few lifetimes. All right, so this is supposedly a mild razor. But what I get is a razor that just cuts really well, but it does it very comfortably. I mean, I'm sure that there are some guys out there who have really tough beards, and so this may be a little too, not enough for them. I understand. But I think for your average guy, and the sometimes with mild razors, the trick is that it's not actually too mild for you. It's that the angle that you need to shave, your handle angle, is sometimes tricky to find. I know that's in the case with the vintage Gillette Tech. People say it's too mild, but then they miraculously find the right angle, and they're rewarded with this great twofer of smoothness and comfort with efficient cutting. All right, I'm going to rinse this off. The residual slickness of this soap is tremendous. Secondary slickness, if you will. I could have gone back over and retouched things without even relathering. Oh yeah, there's that scent. It's not super strong. It's not thick by any means, but it's there and enjoyable. It's light. I wouldn't even say it's medium. It's there. If it was any weaker, I'd probably be disappointed. But it's you do get the full dose of it. Sometimes when you're shaving, if it's a really light scent, you only get some of the top notes, and you don't get the full package. You only get those things that are more pungent, and it's disappointing sometimes. Cross grain now, and super smooth. So as long as I get to the end of my shave and the hairs have been cut well, this is a great pairing of blade and razor. I just don't feel any danger of cutting myself. I can't go against the grain in my neck area, and so I do feel like I could generate some razor burn if I went the wrong directions. Felt great. The slickness is just terrific. Great glide. The razor's just moving well. All right. Yeah, it's a good scent. Yeah, this brush is excellent. Its tips are just not as soft as the like declaration grooming, that kind of thing. But the backbone, it's not shoving my face around. It just feels luxurious, and I like a little bit lower backbone. It's splaying easily, and so to be honest, I probably like this knot, an inexpensive knot, a little better than a lot of the other expensive finest badger that they may have that wall of softness, but it's still a wall, put it that way. And I probably don't even need to do this third pass. But okay, now I will change everything up on my neck right here. Yeah, that's very nice. Some razors I have to, when I'm right here doing this section, there are some outlying areas that I need to take care with and stop before I hit them, because otherwise it's against the grain, and that will give me some irritation. But the very smoothest of blades and razor heads, like the 40s. I really like the 40s style Gillette Vintage Super Speed. And but the smoothest razors will allow me to, if I go over a little bit, I can feel it just a little bit, but it doesn't inspire any kind of razor burn or anything like that. So that is a welcome thing. So yeah, shave looks really good. I'll rinse off and check it out. That is a razor and blade combination that I could shave with every day. Just so comfortable, a joy to use for me. That's the kind of thing I look for generally. And the brush is just, man, it's better than I remember, actually. I don't know if it's because I soaked it for a little while, so maybe the tips got a little softer than usual. But it is a good little knot. So this is just what rinsing. And you can see the silver tips, the hairs are just a little more crazy because they're more flexible, and so they can end up looking a little messier. But that is, I like it. That's the way I like it. How much lather was left over? Well, this kind of looks like the perfect amount. Just a little bit extra margin, enough for maybe another pass and definitely some touch-ups. And so I might recommend myself next time going with the 3 teaspoons of water and a 40-second load on this particular soap. It has sat for a while, and so it may also be that if one were to use it repeatedly, you could get away with a smaller amount, a smaller load time. That may be there too. So, I love this scent. I'm glad that try this soap, try that soap. I'm glad that Try That Soap suggested it. I really wish I could revisit it more. Good job, Catie's Bubbles. So I had a Frank Shaving Silvertip knot. This probably same one, same model. And it was a little prickly when I got it. I shaved with it several times just to see if I could get that prickle out, but it wasn't coming out. And so I thought, well, I'm still within my eBay return window. So I initiated the return, and they were great. They took it back. And then I ran into a golden nib. I was trying the premium versus the grade A Silvertip knots. And the grade A had some prickle as well. The premium didn't. But the prickle went away with the grade A after several uses. And I thought, wait a minute, maybe I judged the Frank Shaving a little too quickly. So I reordered another knot. And so this knot may not have too many uses in it. But you know what? I wonder if the tips are going to gel, because you can see that a little curl in some of those tips. So they might actually end up hooking and becoming kind of gel-like tips. Sometimes I like that, sometimes I don't. But I loved it today. So if you get a badger, if you get a Silvertip that's a little on the prickly and stabby side, I would put it through some uses, because it may just come together really nicely for you. While boars do change a good bit within the first several months of uses, badgers don't, and so that's why I felt like usually they don't. That's why I felt like I wanted to share that with you, because in some cases they do lose their prickle, and they will actually smooth out and change. Silvertips especially will open up and get a bigger bloom and that sort of thing. Hey, so the confusion came with me in my brain because the website I just went and checked is called trythatsoap.com. The soap that Try That Soap collaborated with other soap makers to create is called Try This Soap. They've actually got a new version. I really like Try This Soap, the version 1 that they came out with maybe a couple years ago. I like it. And they just recently, it looks like, came out with a 2.0. To Try This Soap is the soap that they come out with. Try That Soap is the name of the website. Finally, got that cleared up. Okay, so I've already extolled the razor and blade and brush and soap for you during the shave. It's just top notch on all counts. Wouldn't mind having this soap at all. This whole setup, if I was stuck on a desert island, I'd be a happy camper. Just very enjoyable. This base is very easy and quick to clean off your face, but it also still leaves some nice slickness for you. So it's not as important to re-lather certain areas if you get in there in a reasonable amount of time and just buff it a little bit or whatever. So great base. Catie's Bubbles is one of those that I got early on in my shaving, and it's one of the ones that the Amazon had at the time. And so I poured over those articles, reading the descriptions and everything. It was before I found the subreddits and things like that really opened my eyes to the big world of soaps. I was pretty restricted to Amazon, but it worked out because I read reviews, and I only bought soaps that just got tons of awesome reviews. And there's a lot of junk soap on Amazon, but because my requirements were kind of high, I didn't really land on too many duds. And so Catie's Bubbles was one that when there was a real winner from the beginning. So there we go. Really close result. I just see tips in my problem area. It feels very good. It's not there's some hair feel, bristle feel when I go backwards on my face, and so it's not going to be as efficient as some guys might want. If I went with this razor, I might actually be able to go against the grain on my cheeks and really get something near a BBS. But to be honest, I don't chase that kind of thing. It looks great, and that's really kind of all that matters. And this shave was just so comfortable. So I'm really happy with this level of aggression and comfort, even though it's not quite as close cutting. It's close enough right here to give me a nice good appearance, and that's really what matters, because everything else always gets done well. Oh, Executive Man, let's just throw some on. Sometimes the Stirling, give it a shake just in case. Sometimes the Stirling gives me a little bit of irritation because of maybe it's the alcohol content. But hey, this may be the razor and the shave to do this with, since it's such a smooth cutter. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. The Executive Man. Sharp Dressed Man started out to be one of my favorites, maybe my top, but Executive Man and Mountain Man are my real two favorites now. Really like them. All right, well, I'm going to pack up, and we're good. Hope there's something here for you. If you didn't know about trythatsoap.com, maybe this has opened you up into a nice resource for you as a shaver. On the other hand, if you don't have a big budget and you don't want to be tempted, then maybe you don't want to go there. But there's another feature. You can you create a login, and then you can go into I think it's Getting Started page. It has some soap types, almond, cinnamon, some different scents that you like or don't like, and put 0 to 5 in the blanks as to how much you like it, and then it can then recommend some scents to you. So that's a cool feature too. All right, well, this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You have a good day. Take care, and Lather 2 of the Lather games is in the books.